Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm JJ Flizanes, your empowerment strategist and producer, and now network owner. I am now the proud owner of the Empowering Minds Network. You can go to empoweringmindsnetwork.com, or you can search it on your Apple Podcasts to see the shows. So today we're going to be talking about mushrooms and brain health. And this is the first of several conversations we will have moving forward. I'm excited to bring you today's show. And we are doing a live Q&A tomorrow if you're hearing this in real time. Today is Tuesday, November 8th, and we are having a live Q&A with Chris and Joe, who are on the show with me today. And it's going to be held at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, just for about 25 or 30 minutes. And you can get there through my YouTube channel or my Facebook page. So if you can check my Instagram, follow me on Instagram if you don't. That's where I announce pretty much everything. That's where I like to post first and foremost. But if you go to Instagram, you will see the post and you can follow them and or me to get to the live, and you can ask questions. If you come on the Facebook Live on my Facebook page, you can absolutely participate. Not quite sure about the YouTube part. I don't know if people can ask questions through the YouTube Live or not, but would love to facilitate any questions that you have to Chris and Joe after you listen to today's show. So Chris Clausen is the founder and chief innovation officer of First Person. Chris has over 20 years of experience in product and business development. For the past 5 years, he has focused exclusively on innovative product development in the functional foods and medicinal mushroom space. Chris brings experience exploring, experimenting, and conducting extensive research on the relationship between functional foods, medicinal mushrooms, and metabolic, brain, and mental health. Joseph Clausen, his brother, is founder and director of business development of First Person. Joseph has over 20 years of leadership experience in high-touch luxury industries, where he was responsible for business development and project management. For the past 5 years, he has worked exclusively on mycology and plant medicine supply chain development with a focus on nutrition science, health coaching, cognitive health, metabolic function, and product development in CPG supplements. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Welcome to the show today, everyone. I'm JJ Flizanes, your empowerment strategist and producer, and I am excited about today's conversation. I have got Chris and Joe Clausen with me, and we're going to have an amazing discussion about mushrooms. And I have to, maybe this is kind of my coming out right now, like I'm kind of getting into this, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper in the next coming months about this topic. If you're watching this on YouTube and you have found this through YouTube, again, this is my show. What does that mean? I'm going to talk. If you don't like me, which is totally cool, by the way, but you want to find more about Chris and Joe, where can they find more about just you guys?
At getfirstperson.com or
Excellent.
Get First Person on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, those things.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Now, with that said, for those of you that are listening on the podcast, obviously, you know, now we have a video. So come on over and meet Chris and Joe, and you get to see the fun products I get to show you too. So you have the visual if you come over to jjflizanes.tv and watch the video, or at least watch part of it. So welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
You are welcome. So start with Chris. And Chris, why don't you give us a little background about who you are and how you got here? Like, give us your brief story.
Oh, a brief story, huh? That's going to be challenging, but
I understand.
Try. So Joe and I are brothers. We'll start there, and how we got here. My background has always been in entrepreneurial ventures, mainly for myself, in creativity and painting and photography and video production. But Joe and I, our family, starting with our grandfather and then evolving to our father, both ended up with Alzheimer's disease. And it really was a big wake-up call. When we were younger, we witnessed our grandfather go through it, and it was terrible. But then when Dad started going through it, it was a big wake-up call for Joe and I. And so we really started diving deep into cognitive performance and brain health, and how we could change the stars for ourselves and get going down a better path, which led to all sorts of diet and lifestyle changes, which led to mushrooms, functional mushrooms, and eventually, as we'll touch on, psychedelic mushrooms.
Excellent. Joe, tell us a little bit about your involvement. Obviously, Chris, are you the older brother?
That's right.
Okay. Well, usually the oldest child speaks first. That's me. It's like sort of the leader quality of, you're the first. So you kind of take charge. You kind of, you're leading the troops. So I just sort of guessed you were the older brother. That's the only reason, because you spoke first. So did
The
you?
gray beard didn't give it away.
No, you just, you never know. I mean, you never know. My partner, Doug, has a beard, and I mean, he's not a spring chicken, but he's not, like the beard is really sexy. I prefer the beard, and has nothing to do with his age. Joe, tell us about your involvement with your brother. Like, have you guys always worked together? What was your background before you got into this?
No, I kind of lived an alternative life, I guess, non-traditional to the U.S. Lifestyle. I was a former luxury yacht captain, so I kind of traveled on the world, working on luxury boats for a number of years. And then I went into, when I moved to Australia, I married an Australian, and then I went into the entrepreneurship thing in my 30s myself, starting small businesses. So on the other side of the planet. And then Chris and I just started, just as brothers, we really just kind of tried to figure out, hey, what's happening with Dad? How can we help? And then that led to just a deep dive. And then, how can we help? And then we, got the genetic tests done, and we realized that this, we're on the train tracks for this same thing. And we're like, what can we do to divert these tracks? We don't want this same fate for ourselves or for our families. So what can we do? And we both just immediately adopted lifestyle change to start with. We and at the same time, on the opposite sides of the world, we were on every day, like, are you doing this? Okay, well, what are we eating today? We're gonna try this, or have you seen this guy's podcast? And it was just from one day to the next, it really advanced really quickly. And we both saw amazing changes in our own physical health, our mental health, just from not living the standard American diet that we had been living for a long time. So that was kind of our initial start into this. And then we started formulating products for ourselves, to make getting these essential brain nutrients, stuff like mushrooms, into our diets in an easier fashion. So we were throwing it in our coffee, or putting it in a cup of bone broth, or you name it. We tried it. We've tried just about every product out there on the market. So we really kind of went deep into the brain health side of it. Not just starts with diet, nutrition, lifestyle, and then we just really started looking for ways to improve upon that, because we felt like we'd hit, okay, we're great, we've lost some weight, we feel good, we're maintaining. Okay, now what next? How do we improve? I mean, we both had played high school football. I had a serious snowboarding accident in 1996 where I fractured my skull in 3 places. I broke my C3 in my neck. So I was really, really concerned about the TBIs that I've had. And I really wanted to try to improve or correct the damage that I had done back then. And then that led us to stuff like lion's mane, increasing BDNF and causing new neural outgrowth. And then the combination of those two are very powerful. That we know this is what's kind of the impetus that started our company here. Is we're like, wow, this is super powerful stuff that we're dealing with here, and we have to get this out here to the world.
Well, I mean, I don't know anyone who has not seen more of the, I guess we'll call them functional mushrooms, the chagas and the lion's mane, and like in coffees, right. It's infused in so many things right now. It's like it's a hot button, and it's definitely in the culture, and people are seeing it everywhere. And I mean, I know I have a mushroom elixir that I keep forgetting to take. And you know why? Because it's in my refrigerator, because it says refrigerate after opening, which is the worst, because then I forget to put it in my coffee or whatever. And then, or the chaga infused, lion mane infused coffees and teas and things that are out there. So I know that so why don't we talk a little bit about the functional mushrooms, what they are, which ones you like, so for those of you that are watching this or listening on the podcast, so the company's called First Person. And we're talking about how, obviously now you know why it got started, and we can talk more about the actual product, and I'll show you. I love that these stick together. I was like, wait, oh, that's so cool. Anyway, I love that they stick together, and I love, the directions. And I know that these are all more of the functional medicine mushrooms, right?
Correct.
Because
for
obvious legal reasons, that we currently, something that you can sell publicly to people. And I have to tell you, when I first saw the product, I was a little concerned. I won't lie. When I saw them and they were colored, my first thought was, please don't tell me these are dyes. And of course, when I researched, and I was like, they're all natural, yay, because I will not put a dye in my body. No red number, blue number, yellow numbers, not happening. So to find out that your very colorful product, which is beautiful, is all natural colorings, it was great. So let's talk about the role of functional mushrooms, which ones they are, what you tried, how you came up with this formulation, where you started.
Well, I'll go back to just what Joe touched on, and we started with lion's mane, yeah, as primary mushroom for the brain health, but then quickly discovered cordyceps for performance and VO2 max, and then reishi for its calming and stress reduction. And so those are the three that we targeted for our for not only for our products, but we also built our own functional mushroom farm in the Pacific Northwest, because a lot of the mushroom products that you get out there on the market, it's not been very transparent about what's actually in that product. And a lot of times there's grains and fillers, and maybe it's just mycelium and no fruiting body. And really there's medicinal benefits in the fruiting body as well as the mycelium. So we wanted a whole mushroom, organic, grown in North America in a clean environment, using regenerative practices and being environmentally friendly. And it didn't exist. So we built it ourselves. And then we took it a little step further, because the mushrooms, a lot of the medicinal compounds, they are actually found in the cell walls of the mushrooms, and they're locked in those cell walls because most humans can't digest that and release it. And so we invented our own extraction processing method to release all the medicinal nutrients found in the cell walls, so they're bioavailable for humans. So what we finished with is a very powerful full mushroom, no fillers, extracted process that's good for you. And we're super proud to have those into our mushrooms. And we're even exploring some other health and wellness brands that potentially buying them from us and putting them into their products as well. So you may see it then more than just in first person. What we've created up there is so excellent. And then Joe, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. Sorry, where do you want me to take over from? Yeah. So with the farm, to take over for where Chris left off. Yeah. So as he touched on, we were trying to produce the best mushrooms that we could, or trying to buy the best mushrooms that we could. We couldn't buy them, and we were like, well, okay, let's farm. And so we have an amazing facility in the Pacific Northwest. It is in the forest, literally near the Capitol Forest. There's mushrooms growing all around our greenhouse. Our greenhouses are environmentally controlled with radiant floor heating, and we're very environmentally conscious about how we built them and how we manage our farm and our practices there. And we take alder sawdust, that's a byproduct of timber industry up there, and we grow the mushrooms on hardwood, on the alder sawdust. So we're not growing them on oats or rice or anything else. We're growing them on the hardwoods that they would grow in the forest. And we believe that it has a big part to do with their properties, is growing them on the correct substrates. And we process them, as Chris touched on, and we hand pick everything, we hand trim everything. We're very sensitive in how we process our mushrooms, and keeping even the temperatures down, and not processing at super high heats or anything, because again, we treat it as medicine. And so we're very thoughtful about how we process, and we're very proud of the stuff that we produced up there right now.
So where are you each located? Are you close together now? I know you were apart.
We try to be whenever we can, but we are a pretty modern company, and we're spread out all over the place. So we have the farm in Washington, and Joe does a lot of the overseeing of that. So he's up there a lot, particularly right now. Our head office is in Burbank. And then we have finance in Calgary and marketing in New York. And so Joe's in Colorado right now. I'm in Oklahoma. And we do a lot of Zoom meetings.
So this is your jam. So let's talk about why you formulated these three products that I have in my hand. So, and I know I have them out of order. We've got the first one, the Sunbeam, the second one, the Golden Hour, and the third one, the Moonlight. So let's talk about why you did it this way. Why was it? Because you had so much experience with the different functional mushrooms that you wanted to find a way to take it easier, or put it where it needed to be? Like you said, obviously some were great for calming, some were great for performance. So let's talk about the idea around why these mushrooms.
Definitely. Everything we do is brain health mission driven. So we are looking at it from these 7 pillars of brain health and how we can touch on those pillars of brain health, right? And so, like Sunbeam, which would touch on the mental fitness and performance aspect. So, in traditional nootropics, there's lots of that out there where, hey, focus and concentration, right? But we take it a step further, and what we're looking at specific neurotransmitters. So the Sunbeam is really focused around enhancing your dopamine system and dopamine in your body, which is motivation and focus. And so this dopamine is designed. The Sunbeam is designed to go, and really it kind of stemmed from the idea of myself. I had a prescription dopamine reuptake inhibitor called Concerta, and I would take it occasionally for getting a lot of stuff done, right? So I needed to bang out a bunch of work. I needed to concentrate solely on what I was doing, and that's what I had it for. I didn't really need it, but I was using it as a hack. Some people use Adderall for the same thing. And let's get this into a natural product and enhance your dopamine system that way, which is where Sunbeam ended up coming from. Now, Golden Hour, we took a little bit a different look at how it affects brain health, and we talked about our dad and grandfather a little bit, and there's when you get into cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease, it's multimodal. There's lots of different things that ended up causing it. You can't point to one just thing. One of the things we think on our grandfather and our father was that they would come home after work and, have a couple of drinks. It was just what they did to take the edge off. And, we really think that probably was a big contributor to the cognitive decline after, 40 years of having a couple of drinks every night. So Golden Hour is really designed to, kind of take that edge, get you out of work mode, put you into aware, calm, relaxed state, instead of having a couple of drinks or instead of smoking a joint, if that's your thing, and be able to hang with your kids or your spouse or have a good dinner with your friends. And so we created Golden Hour to target the oxytocin in your body, and that to have that social connection. And then Moonlight is really, once again, from a brain health perspective, we're looking at how can you improve your brain while you sleep? Well, when you go into deep cycle sleep is when your brain cleans itself out, is when you restore yourself to go again the next day. A lot of the sleep products that we saw out there were designed to knock you out, like had melatonin in it. And then you would wake up groggy. We wanted the opposite of that. We wanted to, when you go to sleep, you go into deep cycle sleep and improve your deep cycle sleep and wake up fully refreshed and ready to go again. So your brain is rocking and rolling.
Awesome. Well, I've tried them all a couple of times, but I have to be honest, it wasn't necessarily so intentional. It was more like, oh, I want to try this. And I probably chose the wrong times. I wanted to learn more about it also because I wanted to sort of know what I expected. You have beautiful marketing materials. It's very well explained. It's, again, the graphics are beautiful, the colors, the way that it's designed. They're magnetized so you won't lose them, which, right. And they're always like together, which I think is super cool. And like they fit easily on the desk and, next to your bed.
Oh, they go in your fridge?
They go in the fridge too. Okay.
You don't forget to take them?
Well, see, they stay at my desk and the fridge is in the other room. So I didn't even try to put them on the fridge, but that's great. Like, I guess that would be awesome. Gosh, if they could do that for certain other things, like other guys, you may have another business just in making meat for vitamins, right? Make a container that sticks for vitamins so other people can buy, right? So, hey, remember, put it next to the door to take them. But awesome. Well, I'm excited to take them a little bit more seriously. I wanted to wait until I got to know you guys a little bit more just to explain. And because it's like a kid in the candy store. I mean, first of all, they're beautiful. So let me just show everybody who's now heard. This is a Sunbeam. And again, these containers stick together. They're magnetic. But we have this, if you can see, the different colors of the mushrooms that are in here. I mean, they're aesthetically very pleasing. I mean, it's like you get excited about taking them. Right. Then we have the Golden Hour, which is in an orange tin. And again, and I guess I think this was the one that stimulated me the most in terms of like, oh, are these natural because of the blue, right? They're really pretty.
Blueberries,
I
right?
know, right? Oh,
Very-
that was my first like, oh no, please don't tell me these are you're using, and you weren't. So then I was so excited. Okay, and then we have Moonlight. Is that what it's called? Moonlight.
Yes, Moonlight.
And that's in like a lavenderish purple container with green and lavender and blue mushrooms inside. They're just super cool to try. And this is your starter pack to try.
That's the collection. That's right.
Yeah. So let's just talk about, so how long have you, so obviously you guys are a new company and you just sold out of your first batch, which congratulations, that's amazing. As an entrepreneur, I understand I'm getting ready to launch a product too, and I'm only doing one batch as a test run to see if it's a viable business. If it's not, then I'm going to have a whole lot of product to go through, which by the way, will be really good for me. So it's okay. I win either way. Which I'm sure with this product, you guys did too. Like, hey, well, if it doesn't sell, there's a lot of money, but we will be healthy and good. We can give it as gifts to all our friends. So let's talk about how you will test. Like, so, you started this company because of your grandfather and your father having sort of, cognitive issues and decline in their life. And you have genetic tests to show, and you made lifestyle changes. And this was sort of the extra, like, okay, well, like I'm gluten-free. I'd like to be more grain-free more often. But the reason why, like someone says, oh, are you a celiac? No, I'm not a celiac. There's just nothing beneficial in gluten. So there's no point in eating it. Except yes, it tastes good, but I can also make something taste good or be similar with either a grain-free or a substitution. And again, it's often very treated. So we have the fact that gluten flour, whatever you do with it, the grains have been sprayed by glyphosate. And that's really the issue, not necessarily the protein. It can be, depending if it's been modified or not. But it's just one of those like health things that I just say, and even my partner said it to someone the other day. Someone said, oh, are you celiac? No, I'm not. But it's not good for me. So why take it or why eat it? Why not just substitute it? And I did see a result. So sort of like the mushrooms, again, I have mushroom things in my refrigerators because it's like, okay, yes, it helps with brain health, like you're talking about. So it's one of those, like thinking about it like a supplement. Like, why do you take vitamin C? Why do you take omega-3? You take it as a supplement because you're probably not getting enough of these things in your diet. And most of us are not eating this much mushroom, right? I mean, I like mushrooms. We love truffles in this house, but I put truffle salt on my food. I don't really cook with mushrooms very much, but I love mushrooms. But anyway, and I love mushroom soup. But again, this is a whole nother level of what benefits, nutritional benefits, health benefits that it gives to you. So how do you think you have been doing? I mean, can you see any change in your like a trajectory? Like, here's a trajectory I was on, symptoms that I have, not just symptoms I'm worried about having because my father and grandfather had them, but sort of like, have you seen some of your symptoms from the mushrooms alone? I know you made diet and lifestyle changes, but let's like bring it into, besides sleep, I think you mentioned focus, but anything else that kind of went away the longer that you do this?
For me, it's profound, right? So like Joe touched on before, we were on the same path as dad and grandpa was. We were, we weren't out of shape necessarily, but we weren't in shape and we weren't taking care of our brains by any means. And we were partaking in drinks and eating various things. And so making that change did have a big help, the whole diet lifestyle. But then once we started adding the lion's mane, I could tell a big difference. I mean, honestly, before we started this, I was really, looking back on it, I was really having a lot of brain fog, in my early 40s, really mid 40s. I had a lot of brain fog looking back on. I don't think I even realized it until I corrected it, how bad it was. But not only that, but just just not living up to my full potential mentally, I think, right? I could tell that it was just a struggle. Relationship was potentially not as full as it could be because of just trying to work through things. You got kids, you got jobs, you just a ton of stuff going on at that point in time in your life. And you're just trying to juggle it all and keep up. And it can be difficult. When we started adding lion's mane, I was like, wow, this is something else. And then, and it really did, start to clear the brain fog and think a lot better. I now feel that at 51, that my brain is functioning better than it ever has in its whole life. And it's not even close. It's so much better than what it was 10 years ago. I can't even describe it to you.
I love it. I can't wait to continue my journey with it. I hope everybody starts, try them, because especially for all the things that we just talked about, it's almost like having, if you eat well and you exercise and you get good sleep and you get deep sleep and you work on emotional processing and your immunity is pretty good and your gut health is really good. When you take vitamin C, you just get a little bit more protection. Well, same thing if you're taking mushrooms, you're opening parts of the brain that you may not otherwise have access to. And again, this is a safe and natural way to do it. So I recommend everybody check out getfirstperson.com. And then of course, follow them on Facebook, because they got some stuff coming down the pipeline. So if you're interested in getting involved or learning more, make sure to check out getfirstperson.com. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Joe, for coming on the show.
Thanks, JJ.
Thank you. Appreciate it.